Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. TMax here. Welcome back to this series of me sharing all these cultural observations that I've made over the last 3 years. We've already done 2 videos, so if you haven't seen those, go ahead and check those out in the description, wherever the video is. Check those out. You don't have to see those first, but after you watch this one, go watch those too. Today we're talking about phones and photography together. So the first thing you do when you move to a new country is you have to get a SIM card. And I did the same thing, and I got 300 minutes and 5 gigabytes of data and I think unlimited text messages, I don't know. But I pay $6 a month, US dollars, 40 kwai a month for this. And I don't use my phone that much, so 5 gigabytes for $6. When I lived in Spain, I thought I was getting a great deal. I was paying €12 for 1 gigabyte of data and like 500 minutes and 500 texts or 1,000 texts or something like that. And I thought that was a great deal. I'm like, wow, I get a whole gigabyte for €12. And I think even my plan doubled. I ended up getting 2 gigabytes for €12. And I was like, man, this is awesome. And €12 is like 60 or 70 kwai. I don't know. I'll put the right number here. But I moved here and I get 5 gigabytes with carryover, so every 2 months it carries over, so I never use my data. So I basically have 10 gigabytes every month to use if I want to, because I never use the data. For $6. I went back to the US and I tried to get just like a Cricket mobile SIM. It was $40. And it was like 100 megabytes and oh man, yeah, the US is horrible data plans. Horrible. And especially like if you want to do like the prepaid or the on the short term, horrible. China, man, it's great. $6. And the reason you have to have all this data is because everything is done through your phone. Through WeChat or QR codes, you're constantly scanning something, you're using your phone, the phone's camera. Nobody has a phone without a camera. I mean, I don't know if they even make phones without cameras, but if they did, you couldn't use them here because you have to scan stuff to do anything, to get into buildings, to pay, to make reservations, to show your tickets. Everything is done through QR codes and scanning in WeChat. But the interesting thing about that is everything is done through phone, internet, and WeChat and all that. But sometimes you want to see some information about a business. You go in their WeChat. They don't have basic information like store hours. They usually have address or what's on their menu or whatever. I'm like, when are you open? Like, how can I not find this on your WeChat? That should be the first thing on there. And of course, to power these phones, you need power, electricity. And so there are mobile charge stations and power bank sales boxes everywhere. Everywhere. And so you can always pay, and it's really cheap, like 1 kwai for an hour or something like that to charge your phone. And some places even have free phone charging, like if you go to the bank or something like that and you need to, make a transaction, you need your phone. So they have free chargers in the bank and you can just charge there and then go do whatever you need to do. So they understand that you need this power. Even if you go into a Starbucks, I remember right before coming to China, I went to Starbucks in San Francisco and there are no outlets anywhere. Inside this whole Starbucks, no outlets in the walls, no outlets. They actually did have the mobile power stations that you could buy, which was nice, but they weren't as cheap as they are here. But if you go to a Starbucks here in Beijing, most of them are they're going to have outlets on the walls because you're going to see people over there plugged in with their laptops or whatever. But even a lot of the tables have outlets. And some of those tables even just have a USB directly. So you didn't have to worry about bringing a charger. You just stick your phone USB straight into the table because they understand you need power for your phone. So of course, because everyone is using their phone, they're all on their phone, they have data. One thing that happens a lot is you run into smombies, just people constantly looking in their phone. And it's one thing to like be checking something or like, following a map, where am I going? Or maybe I got a message. People are just watching movies, just walking down the street, just watching a TV show or something like that. And I'm like, dude, like there could be a manhole uncovered and they would fall right in. This is where that would happen, just fall straight in there. They're not paying attention to anything. Dead to the world, got headphones in. Apparently there's not as many accidents as I would expect. Somebody's hitting a tree or something or getting hit by a bus just because they're staring at the phone. Somebody. It's so crucial to have a phone and to use WeChat here It's even to the point where salesmen on the street, like if I'm just selling water or something, I'm at a park or something and I know people are going to want to buy water. How am I going to get money? Nobody's using cash. I have my own little QR code and people can scan it and here's your water, and they just pay me through this WeChat QR code. And it's to the point where I've even seen beggars, people on the street with no money, and they have a QR code. Like, who? You have enough money to pay for a phone and a cell phone plan? But the cell phone plan is only 30 kwai, so yeah, maybe they do. Beggars have WeChat codes. So yeah, they'll take money, they'll take cash usually, but WeChat code. The musicians on the street, they all have WeChat codes. Everybody has a WeChat code because that's how you pay for stuff here. I had done another video, which I'll link somewhere, about Chinese people on the phone, how it sounds to me. And obviously my Chinese isn't fluent, but you know, you can hear certain things, and I feel like a lot of times they're just listening to the other person talk and they're just like, how, and it's just, they're just repeating it over and over again, like, okay, yeah, I get, and it's probably perfectly normal to them, but because it sounds like other words in English, it's just very interesting to listen to them. So check out that video if you want to see how it unfurls. Did I just say unfurl? That's a SAT word. You're welcome. And so obviously when you want to use your phone to scan something, to sign up for some program, to use the public bikes or something like that, you need to use your phone number. So everything is linked to your phone number. So you need a phone to do stuff. You want to rent bikes, you want to get a Didi, which is like a taxi cab service. You want to do anything, you have to have a phone number. So that means you probably have to have a phone. And the phone numbers are very important because it tells you exactly what kind of person you are. They can recognize based on your phone number. So my phone number is a foreigner's phone number. So when I log into apps and stuff, they automatically know I'm not Chinese. So there's even certain apps that I can't download on my phone or I can't use because I don't have a Chinese phone number, a real Chinese phone number. So a lot of expats, after they live here for a while and they understand this, they go get a real Chinese SIM card, and so they can do Chinese stuff. But as a foreigner who doesn't know that, you get your company helps you get your first phone card, and they're probably going to help you get the foreigner version because they're probably cheaper, or there's some sort of tax thing, I don't know. But you're going to be limited in what you can do with that phone number. And so of course you're going to use your phone for apps, and one of my apps is my banking app. And I remember the first time I opened it up, I was like shocked, like, oh no, I don't have any money. Because in my banking app, I use ICBC, if you get money in, it's red. If you spend money, it's green, which is the exact opposite of anything I've ever done with accounting or finance. Red is usually going out and green's coming in, or black is coming in. Red is coming in here on my app. And so when I first saw it, I was like, negative, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, whoa, I don't even have that much money. How am I spending that much already? But that was my first paycheck. And it was like, oh, okay. Whew. And one thing you see quite often are these rings here on the back of the phone. I don't know if you can see this. So people can put their finger through. You see that on pretty much everybody's phone. I mean, obviously you see it on my phone too. Super convenient. I'd never seen those in the West before. And I think now that I've gone back to visit, I have seen people using that now. But when I moved here, everybody had one. Or they have no case, which is super interesting. People are brave because not everybody's rich, but you walk around with a brand new iPhone and there's no case on it. Yeah, that's brave. I can buy like a cheapy phone and I'm gonna package that thing in like 3 layers of TPU plastic. I ain't taking no chances. People do still use their phone to actually make calls. They're probably calling through WeChat. But when people are on the phone here, especially in a quiet place, they're yelling. I don't know why. If they're old, I get it. Old people everywhere in the world yell. But this would just be it could be young person, anybody, middle-aged person, and they're yelling. And it's funny because they have the phone right like in their mouth and they're still yelling. Because I figure, like, if the phone's here, yeah, I should yell. But at this point, I could probably speak in a normal voice. And it's just screaming, you hear their whole conversation. My Chinese isn't that great, so I don't know what they're talking about. And even if they're just doing voice memos or whatever, it's just really loud. Everybody in the vicinity knows what's happening in that person's life at that moment. And so, because I vlog here a lot in China, I'm always taking videos and stuff and pictures. But I've had, I think, just 2 times had Chinese people come up to me and say, "Oh no, please don't take a picture of me, or please don't take a video. Can you delete it?" And I'm like, whoa, hold on. Because since the day I landed, not just my own vlog, but Chinese people everywhere just taking pictures constantly and videos and just, oh, foreigner, video, picture, like walking up to me, can I take a picture with you? I'm in millions of pictures somewhere on the internet. Just Google my face and I'll probably show up on a bunch of Chinese people's social media because they're interested in, they're curious. But then to have a Chinese person tell me, oh, please don't take a picture of me, it's like, wow, But of course, it's that person's wish, so, all right, whatever, I'll delete it and just take a picture of somebody else. But those 2 times were quite interesting. They were both young people and they were both girls, which is even stranger because girls in pictures, which we'll talk about that later too, don't worry. So when people are taking pictures of themselves or of their friends, they're never just using like the stock app that comes on the phone. They're all using like B612 or Beautify, or I don't know what these apps are called, but they all have this Photoshop feature built in where it just makes your skin smooth or your eyes really big or your head big. I don't know what they think beautiful is, but there are no normal raw pictures of people. You don't, even my phone, I have a Huawei phone, the default setting for beauty mode is like 7 out of 10. I'm like, and just when you turn the phone on, and I don't like that, so I leave it on 0. But this is just built into the phone, and people aren't even using this. They're using the apps that are like, they go above and beyond, they make you glow and all that. So you go through people's WeChat moments or you see their social media and nobody looks normal. Everybody's perfect or photoshopped, clearly photoshopped. And I would say just girls, but some guys are doing it too. I see it less with guys, but there are, some guys just want to look good, I guess. So of course, when people are taking photos here, it's all about the peace sign, the 2 fingers. It doesn't mean peace or 2, it just means I'm taking a picture here. It's literally what this means. I'm taking a photo. And, obviously in the West, in the US at least, this would be peace or whatever. But, people want to be creative with their pose taking. And so, quite often, and it's men or women, usually girls because they're more animated in their photos, but you see them doing this pose. I don't know if I have to blur that out or not. That means something totally different in other places, but here it's just, people trying to be funny or creative or expressive or whatever, and it's just them taking a picture. And so I apologize if your children are watching this. You get to explain what that means to them. Good luck. We take pictures of everything, right? And I see this everywhere in the world. But here in Beijing, especially like the changing of the seasons, the people really like taking pictures of sunsets or trees and flowers and stuff like that. And, flowers bloom at a certain time. And so it would make sense, like you see somebody walking the street and they're like, oh, that's really pretty, take a picture. Like here you just see like lines of people waiting to take pictures with the flowers or with the trees. They go to a park and there's just hundreds of people in the park taking a picture of these newly bloomed flowers or trees or whatever. And it's just very funny to see how cameras on phones have changed, what we want to capture, what we want to share with the world, what we want to see and save for our own memories. And so I did mention earlier that people will come up to me and ask to take a picture with me, and usually I don't mind, especially if I'm traveling or something, I'm almost expecting it. But there are people who are too shy to ask, and so they try to take a picture like sneakily. And I did do this in the Fibnos video, but one time I was on the subway and somebody was trying to be sneaky and take a picture, but they left the flash on. So all of a sudden I just see this flash on the screen and everybody kind of turns and looks, and the person was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I left the flash on. I'm like, it's me and a bunch of Chinese people, so I know what you're taking a picture. We all know. And yeah, that person obviously is just like, can't look at the world ever again. And they got off the next stop, and it probably wasn't even their stop. They're just like, I need to escape this social tension that I've created. So when you go to places like Sanlitun, which is a very popular, busy shopping area, and there's these types of places in all the major cities, but you see these guys with these really like long barrel lens cameras, like really professional wildlife photography looking cameras, and there's like 40 of them, and they're just all posted around this shopping area, and they're just taking pictures of people. And so my friend tells me that they have their own social media accounts, and they're just, they post these pictures, and people, oh, that's me, or that's a beautiful girl, or whatever, and they're following, and they make money from advertisers or whatever. And it's like, okay, but every one of these photographers is like an old dude over 50 that's just kind of creepy, and it's just like they're like flies to honey. Like, you see you taking a picture, they'll come over and try to take pictures too. So maybe they're trying to sell some sort of professional services. I don't know. I don't really go to these areas that often. And there's no like permission, like, hey, can I take it? It's like, I'm snapping. But I'm talking about the long lenses, like, I can see you in the next county and I'm taking a picture and I'm going to put it on my social media without your permission. And then I'm going to make money from advertisers. So for the expats who are living in China, what have you noticed about phones and photography and stuff like that? And for everyone else, remember to hit the like button and share, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in the next video.